We talked about this the other day, induced vulnerability. The moment that you put yourself in a vulnerable position, place, or environment, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to find your way to be of help in that space, or you're going to turtle and fail. I mean, it's just that easy. Every time I've put myself in a vulnerable position, by the way, this is vulnerable now. These are vulnerable situations. But when you put yourself in a vulnerable situation, that is where you really grow. That is where you find what's really in here, the core, your values, the consistency of that. That's probably the hardest thing is, it's the consistency of doing it all the time, being that consistent person, that solid dude that people just know, oh, that dude's showing up again and again and again. But it's when you're not that consistent dude that people don't trust you anymore. They lose the faith that they had in you. I mean, we like to ride roller coasters because they're fun, but nobody likes to follow somebody that's a roller coaster. I had a partner in a business, a real estate brokerage to be clear, that when times got really, really tough, couldn't count on him for covering the costs. He would say, it's not my responsibility. If you want to keep the lights on, you pay the bills. He would shirk his responsibility. When somebody needed some help, he would just say, I'm not interested. I don't want to do that. It's when the pressure is on, when you know what you've got, when the bullets are flying, when the enemy is coming, when you have no way out, you've burned the boats, that is when you know what you got in front of you. That's when you know you've got the right person in the foxhole with you. The vulnerable level is at its highest, whether it's in business, on the playing field, anything in life. That's when you know you've got the right people around you. And often that doesn't happen until you put yourself in those vulnerable situations. And those vulnerable situations can be things that just come to you that you've now entered into, or they could be orchestrated. And I love to orchestrate vulnerable situations. I like to put myself in what I call self-induced vulnerable situations. That is when I know I'm going to grow the most. I don't have a choice. It's only one way, and that is to take care of whatever's in front of me. Self-induced vulnerability is an amazing tool for growth. When he said, I'm not going to get involved in taking care of the loss, count me out, he said. That's when I counted myself in times whatever. Because the responsibility was not just about the lights, it was about the people in our brokerage. It was about their livelihoods. My why back then, I didn't quite know it. I didn't know my why like I know it today, but my why was still the same, as how to inspire, educate, and help agents have a financial legacy and a freedom legacy. That goes back all the way to then, which was the late 1990s. And it didn't just end there. I helped solve some of those problems with that brokerage. We moved the brokerage to another brokerage where we made an excellent decision in helping our agents get the best of what they could get. Not for me, but for them. It was about them, giving them a better opportunity, a better place. And so we made that move, that adjustment. Even then, this same individual, which was a roller coaster of a ride, was still making a mess of things in the background. And I still had to solve more problems that he was creating. And so I've just always wanted to serve and help people the best I could. Long story short, that individual carried on to making a lot of challenging moments for a lot of people, not just me. Because the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. If you're a roller coaster, you're going to continue to be a roller coaster. It's pretty hard to get that out of your DNA. When should you start a team? When should you partner with somebody? Should you partner with somebody to build a team? Should you partner in building a brokerage? These are all really important questions. And choosing your partners is so important. I mean, think about this. In life, we choose our forever partner, our significant other, and we need to really treat our partners with a lot of seriousness. Something that I've done on the team, as far as even picking agents, go through a very long process. Never rush the process. In fact, the less you rush it, the more you delay that decision, often the more you flush out who that person really is. And so sometimes delaying that. Now, I understand there's a window of opportunity that sometimes you have to run through that window. You have to jump through the window to get the opportunity. But if you're thinking about a partnership, this is something that you want to last or have last for decades or eternity in most cases. You really need to realize the importance of that decision. So slow it down, because time has a way of flushing out things. People can fool you in the short term, but the long term, it's hard to fool somebody for a long period of time. So slow it down. Of course, ask a lot of curious questions. Be interested in them. Have them share everything about them, their story, why they want to do a partnership, where they've come from. What are some of the crucible moments that have shaped their lives? We all have those moments, crucible moments, things that have broken you, changed you, made you, formed you. Those are crucible moments which we all have. And so when somebody can share those moments with you, then you know you're getting to the essence of who they are. Because you want to know the real person before you partner with somebody. I love doing this. I call it the storytelling or the storybook. And literally we both get out easels and ask each other the same question and then jot down the answer. So for instance, when were you born? Where were you born? Where did you go to elementary school? What were some things that changed who you are, or some memorable moments in your childhood? What was it like growing up in your home? What was your first job? Why is there a gap between high school and college? Where did you go to college? All of these are curious questions, but what we're doing is we're understanding the story of the person that is going to be our partner. And when we can understand their story and they can understand our story, then we can see if there's a fit. If there's things that are causing some alarm bells to go off in their story, then I think you should maybe pause. Another great tool, if you're hiring, is to, of course, do reference checks. But there's just not 1, 2, or 3 reference checks, but multiple layers of reference checks. What do I mean by multiple layers? Well, of course, the candidate, the partner, the significant other is going to give you their very best references, won't they? And of course, they probably even shared with that reference, hey, watch out for the call from Randy. He's going to be calling you. So they're already conditioned to say what they're supposed to say. But what I love to do is say, hey, can I go 1 layer deeper through your reference, or even 2 layers deeper? So what does that mean? You send me a reference, I can ask that reference for a reference, and that reference for a reference. So I'm actually going 3 layers or 3 levels deeper on the reference checks. Those are probably way more important than the initial reference, because these people have nothing to lose or nothing to gain by that reference. It takes time, it's tedious, but wouldn't you rather save yourself the time today than lose it in a poor partnership? So one thing I find about teams is a lot of teams form not out of building a team, but out of a friendship. It's not a business-minded decision, it's a friendship decision. And when you're doing things out of friendship, often it doesn't work out. I mean, we've all seen the teams come and go, teams come and go. If you look at teams over the course of the history of your real estate career, many of them fail after a very short period of time, 1, 2, 3 years max in most cases. And why is that? Because they were built out of a friendship, not out of a desire to build a business model or a business team that was successful. And so often it's 2 people getting together, joining a partnership, saying, hey, why don't we share the costs? Why don't we do this together? We have so much fun together in real estate. Why don't we do this together? Which is great. I mean, it all sounds good on the surface, but then the bills start rolling in. Then the commitment level is starting to be evaluated by each individual. Then we start self-evaluating. How is this helping me? Is this the best for me? Often there is non-alignment. It was an alignment on friendship, but non-alignment on business. And so I often see teams fail because they're formed out of all the wrong reasons. The right reason is for somebody that is looking to build a business. That person needs to look in the mirror and actually evaluate themselves to see if they're really a team lead, because being a team lead is significantly different than just being a really good agent. Do you have the right makeup to be a lead? If you go through some self-evaluation, understanding who you are, profiling yourself to see if you're a team lead, then you would know if you should really be a team lead. This is not easy because it's your ego speaking to you, and your ego is making you an amazing agent, which then you think you may be an amazing lead, but they're significantly different. So first and foremost, you need to find out if you're really worthy of being a team lead. And then secondly, you need to have enough business to really allow you to lead others, because others are going to come to you because they think that you can help them with their business. And so you need to have enough business coming in. You need to be a bit of a rainmaker, or an ability to make rain generate leads to serve the agents that are going to be on your team.